Okay, welcome everyone. This is the working group device management meeting from October 22nd. Remember, this meeting falls under the CNCF Code of Conduct, which basically means be excellent to each other. I just noticed that we don't have anything on the agenda, but we do have a few participants. So perhaps we have questions, updates of your work that you're doing. Basically, we can talk about anything that's on your mind right now. I can start. For me, that is that we passed the cap freeze last week. We have 10 caps for this cycle in Kubernetes 135. Some of them are just minor updates, including core DRA, but others are a bit more involved. So expect reviewers to be busy again if you are contributing, and also if you are owning a feature, keep an eye on the timelines. Another deadline was today, and is today, it's still time. That was the doc deadline. You were supposed to have a placeholder for your feature if you plan to update the Kubernetes website. It's also fine to just say, no, I'm not going to update that, but the release team wants to know that, or the doc teams. I'm actually not sure who's asking. It might be the doc team. Or secret release on behalf of a doc team. Either way, if there is something planned, a placeholder with an empty commit is just fine at this point. Then I know that we do have PRs pending. Pang, I know that you have been active and submitting bug fixes for consumable capacity, for example, and I started reviewing the first one. We now should start to get PRs really merged. And there wasn't a good reason anyway to wait, but it was just a timing issue and availability of people. I'm still torn myself between completing device stains, which is what I'm working on for 135, and reviewing PRs. So I need to juggle both a little bit to keep things moving. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
And if yep.
sorry. Yeah, I
No,
may have
go ahead. Yeah.
simple questions. As you can see from the PR, I pushed the PR as a stack because I need the first fix and then I add the test coverage and fix the other stuff. I'm not sure is this the right way to push the PR in the stack, or I better wait one by one and then I push another PR. I don't know. Is this a good manner to do so?
For bug, I would say individual commits, individual PRs with one commit make sense. You're fixing one thing. You can have a PR description that explains exactly what your PR is fixing, and it matches with one commit that does what you describe. So that's, I think, is the right approach. And then if your follow-up PRs don't work without some other PR merged first, you can just include the commit of a first PR or the other PRs that you depend on and mark it as work in progress. Let your reviewers know that this PR is only about the last commit, and that the other commits are going away when you rebase.
Okay. Yeah,
So
yeah. I think I did describe that, and yeah, that I put the PR
yeah,
based on the other PR. But yeah.
that's also fine. Yeah, but that works. Um, a more involved approach that I've been starting to use is to have an integration branch and have a branch where I'm not carrying the individual commits of some other PR, but instead I have a merge commit. Uh, so my workflow is I work on something, I have a bunch of commits. I find out that some commit can be a standalone PR. I create a PR with just that one commit or a bunch of commits. Sometimes a PR is better off with multiple commits if it's logically separate, but fixing overall the same problem than multiple commits in a single PR also perfectly makes sense. And then in my integration branch, I do a git merge where the commit message is basically just says merge link to the pull request, and then in my integration branch, I just push the merge commit. The Brow CI or say our CI system will complain about the merge commit, but that's fine. You can actually click on the link in GitHub and see what it depends on. And then my workflow is that when I need to rebase, when I need to modify anything that I'm currently working on, I'm working on the integration branch, make some changes, do a fix up commit, and then do a git rebase with the -R option. I forgot what it stands for, but it means update references. And that rebase operation then allows me to update any of my active branches that I work on and push individual updates to GitHub as necessary. But for me, that workflow is better in the sense that I have one branch that I'm actively working on, or not multiple. So if for example, in your current case, you probably have different branches. If you change your first commit, you're only changing it in one PR. And then if you start working on some other branch again, you have a stale commit.
Yeah, I
And
have to
my
yeah.
yeah. And my workflow automatically avoids that. It's a bit more complicated. You have to get used to it, but it works for me fairly well so far. I'm happy that I discovered this Git feature.
Yeah, it sounds very interesting, and I would like to learn more about that. And it would be great if you could push some link or something that I can see more details.
Yeah, I'll just put it in the agenda. It's fairly easy.
Thank you.
I'll
Yeah.
I'll do that after the meeting. Or
Okay.
may take a note to. Okay. Yeah. Anything else?
Yes, I have a question about the status API. So we have this config in the status, and when it's reported from a device class, it doesn't mention from which requests it points to. I'm not sure if it's normal or if it's expected or if the request is missing in here.
In the resource claim status. So
we
we
have the
list
status
configs.
allocation.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think it should have a request. So it basically always should say which request it. Well, it doesn't. Oh, I need to look up at the API. I don't remember off the top of my head, but I think it should tell the DRA driver which request the configuration applies to and where it came from. So both should be there, if I remember correctly.
It says it comes from the class, but it doesn't say for which request it applies to.
Yeah, let me just go to the docs. Wrong URL. I don't want pulls. So, no, not save. Find. Why doesn't give me a search button? That's odd. Well, I just need to scroll a little bit. Resource claim should be some further down. So resource claim status, allocation result, devices. So that's the array.
Right.
And it says it's for the device. So we configure this particular. It's attached. Okay, so the config is separate. The device that's here. It's not actually associated. Oh, well, it is here. So the device allocation result is associated with a request. And well, there is this one case here. If empty, it applies to all requests. So this is the specification. It may be empty. In that case, the configuration applies to all requests in the resource claim.
I haven't tried with multiple device yet, but if this is confirmed that with multiple device, it applies like this. For example, I have two requests, one with device class A and device class B, then it will go in the resource claim status.
Yeah.
Or I can try this first.
Well, this is how it should work. If you see it not working like that, then absolutely file a bug.
Okay. Yeah, I will try with multiple device and I will see then.
Yeah.
Because
at least that here was the intent. I hope we have tests, but I can't remember off the top of my head what we do.
Okay, I will try first. And it was only with one device. The request was empty, so I was like, I don't really know which config belongs to which request.
Yeah. I think we have support code in our helper library for this logic. Let me see whether I can find it, but we did discuss that at some point, which kind of logic we should support. This is here. Yeah, got it. Config for result returns the configs that are applicable to a device allocated for something. And that has the logic. Here's its checking. If a config is not specified for a specific request, it applies. Otherwise, it must match the request name. And it also deals with the prioritized list. So this helper function is something that DRA driver authors probably should be using when dealing with configurations. They don't have to. The API they can also implement the API themselves, but this is one way of doing it. The other question that we had in this context is, what if different configs have overlapping configuration options? Which one wins? And that's really going into the territory of semantic of how a DRA driver handles its configuration, which options are valid where in a device class versus a user request and so on. And we don't have a standard way of doing that. We don't have a way of merging JSON fragments, for example. So that is then something that a DRA driver author needs to think about. But at least figuring out which of the given configurations are applicable to a device That is something that this helper function provides.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, I was not aware of this function, so I will try this also. Thanks.
I'll again add details to the agenda after the call, just basically summarizing what I just pointed to. Okay, good question. Definitely something that the array driver authors need to think about. As usual, if our docs in the staging repo don't explain that well enough, then PRs definitely are welcome to enhance them, because at this point, I'm expecting that how to write a DRA driver is by starting with either the example driver or with the Go docs for our staging repo, and in particular the kubelet plugin package that has fairly comprehensive documentation that explains everything that an implementer of that given interface should be doing. And that includes configuration handling, if applicable. So cross-referencing from the kubelet plugin to this helper function, for example, that would be worthwhile, I suppose. Okay. I don't know about you, but I certainly wouldn't mind stopping early and getting back to work. So if there's nothing else, we can adjourn early today. Thanks, everyone, and see you next time. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.